again, YouTube. Welcome back to my series of short videos explaining my independent project for you guys. So last week I kind of laid out the setup on what exactly I wanted to do with my independent project and how I was going to do it. So scrolling up, you can see here everything essentially that I was pretty much discussing and everything I said. This week has been quite busy in terms of mapping out everything that I needed. So this here that you see in front of you that I'm scrolling down now is all the information that I will be using in order to compose this score. It actually took about 4, maybe 6 hours to actually get this information. Looking at it, you think, oh, I could do that in no time. No, not exactly. Not when first I had to research on the left side exactly what areas I wanted to use. So I'd be looking at exactly my hotel address and the number that came with that. I'd be looking at the metro system and all the stations that I pretty much visited, things I saw whilst in the metro system, so such as here, posters, info in the metro seen when stopping. So in Ronlaw, I can't pronounce that properly, I'll get better, but it pretty much these little things here that I would see on posters, vice versa, and then working my way down to the roads I walked down, and then the boat tour that I went on, which was the Bateau Parasols, and that took us down La Seine River. So all this information here as well, and all the museums and attractions I visited, as well as restaurants. So what I did then was anything that kind of had a name, I would look at it, so the BIS Boulevard Marat, and I'd be looking at every single letter and looking where exactly it fitted on this grid here on the keypad. So the B would give me 2 for Boulevard, and then I'd then be putting in the number 2, which is just there. I kept the 119 because it's already a number, so 119 2, vice versa, and I had to do this with every single letter you pretty much see working along each number. When it came to using phone numbers, I thought, well, numbers are already converted, so I just put a line saying to go straight across to here. So what I would do then is use all these little numbers here, kind of decide on myself, oh, what key signature am I going to go in, having set out myself a choice of scales here. And really quickly, the reason why I've chose these scales here is because my initials are AC, so I thought, well, I'll just stick with these simple scales just to make it more personal and more about me. I did start by beginning with La Muette and kind of working my way up and then working my way back, and then once I'd hit like a certain point, I'd go back on myself like a bit like a mirror symmetry, roughly working my way down throughout the entire thing, so that way it kind of spiced things up and kept things different. So getting all this information took absolutely forever from this, because I would be constantly looking at a number, going back up here, looking where it is exactly, then putting it in. So it is quite draining. The reason why these are kind of grey background is to tell me that I've already used them in the score. So it's pretty much just highlighting it for myself to say, yes, you've used that, you don't need to go back on it again unless you do decide to go on and back it again, so in which case I'll darken it a bit more in the background, I'll give it a different colour, give myself a series of colours to know that I've worked with it. So let's have a quick look at the score and what I've managed to do so far. This here is pretty much the intro part of the score. So this comes as part of the video, which if I just pop right here has its own little introduction. So if I play it, you'll hear the music in the background and what it sounds like, and I'll explain why I chose those rhythms specifically and why 12/8. So that first section, I decided to pretty much just stick to using the Marat part of my choices. So that's just up here. I looked at Marat, and I have copied and pasted that, and I've put that into the score. But these would be pretty much the notes I will be using specifically in this section, and that'd be pretty much, like I say, all I would use. Like, if I wanted to use other notes, then I would go down and find the A minor scale, or something that was in the A minor scale, with perhaps something that is close by, a road walk down that is close to La Muette, just so it has that kind of relation and connection with it. Rhythmically, I wanted to take influence from some of my favourite French music pieces and composers. So as I'm writing down in like this here, my documentation side of things, I talk about during my time in Paris, you know, it reminded myself of some of my favourite pieces of music composed by composers from France. So be it that of the Monsoir Suavata Artois. Not great at pronouncing them. I'm not French, but I'm trying. And that is from Samson and Delilah, sorry, or that, or the La Vie en Rose by Edith Piaf. But the version of the score that I kind of looked at rhythmically was the version by Louis Armstrong. And then an absolute all-time favourite for me on the piano by Chopin is the Nocturne in E flat major, opposition 9 number 2. Absolutely love that piece, and this is the opening rhythms that I opened with. I wanted to specifically use. Just find them now, and I'll quickly show you exactly what it is I mean for the comparison. Now I know Chopin's not originally from France; he's originally from Poland, except I just wanted to use that whole romantic French era kind of style. So it's the reason why I brought in this piece, seeing any kind of outside source material from an outside composer that I wanted to use really in the score. So hopefully you can see that. So what I did, with this being one of my favourite pieces, I wanted to kind of take influence, I suppose steal is the word I will go for, the rhythm of the score specifically. So looking exactly what he's doing here with his rhythms and his time signature, I wanted to open with that, and with it only just being like my opening credits kind of scene, I thought, well, why not? I know it's not going to sound great due to the notes almost clashing, but taking influence from something that is originally French kind of brings more of it all together for me, with it all being based around Paris. I thought, why not take influence from what the composers in France or surrounding areas have done. So you can see that back on the score, where, look here, I start with the exact same rhythm on the piano, and I did alter the left hand a bit, taking out the second note, and how I build that up was, just zoom in, so as you can see, that's there for me, and there's all the notes. So how I built this up was literally looking at 3 notes every section to build up these. So it'd be B, and also to say I did start on an A, even though it's not there, just to give it that root just there. So yeah, so I started with a B, which is there, and I got the B again, then we have up here another B. So there's the 3 B's used, and I thought I can get away with that using octaves. Then I go on to the C, and then I got the E and the A, vice versa, working my way through for as long as I can till I came to the end of the rhythm that I was happy with. The strings here, when influenced by the Chopin piece, these were just something I felt would work. I know I do need to alter it still so it reads better, but with me just kind of following the whole note structure, going B, 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 C, E, A, vice versa, and working along with it. I wanted something that worked along with the way the independent project fades in, and just give it that kind of characteristic, give it that, I suppose not emotion is what I'm going for, but that filmish aspect to the score. The flutes, these were just something I just kind of threw in there. To be fair, I mean, listening to this over and over, and the way I'd done this, it was just like, oh, you need something that's gonna work different. So what I decided to do for composing these little flute parts was use the port Ditsy Cloud, which luckily happened to be in the A minor key, and it actually was the area in which I was staying for my hotel. So I thought, well, why not creep that in there as my kind of intro, especially since the score is going to end on Port Ditsy Cloud with a lot of things on that, and then going later on into me leaving Paris on a plane. The oboes and clarinets, and the bassoons, how I worked with these was pretty much just looking at exactly what the piano was doing, essentially, and then just harmonising those together. Some things I have done in the score as well is, yes, I would take, so let me jump ahead, I would take the melody that I wanted, but then I'd think, well, yeah, these notes aren't really in what I'm after, so I'll just turn them into an actual chord itself. That way is bringing more notes into the score and harmonising it, but it's just the root of that chord that I'm following by, which gives it that thickness and makes it be a bit more fuller. It's the same again with what I did here. So I got the melody composed with the flutes, and then the oboes, sorry, and then I put the flutes on the third above it, just thicken it out. And again, it's the same what I do with the clarinets and bassoons essentially. So yes, there are notes that aren't on here, but in order for this to sound better and more rich, I needed to take that approach to it as well. So that will be in my documentation, and once this document is fully finished, it should explain everything. Essentially, it's what I'm on about. So at the moment, it's still early process, still a mess, still kind of telling myself off of what I need to do and focus on. So as it stands, within the first week, I've already composed about 2 minutes worth of music. Some things I'm not happy with, such as this section here. I don't think it really works, so my plan is to literally delete it and rework it, and it's the same for some other areas in the score that I think might not work 100%, so I'm going to change them. So, but as you'll notice as well, I have been going in and out of the keys, coming to the different areas on the film. So as soon as we get to this section here, it's still in A, so I kept it due to the scale that it was on and where the video was shot. And then coming into this section here, I've got my hit as well to tell me exactly when that scene changes. So if this is going to be performed live, the conductor knows when to kind of prepare himself for it, or if it's ever going to be recorded as well. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much the information for the first week. I do have some other ideas, going a bit more in depth next week as to exactly what it is I'm doing with the score and how I'm finding new rhythms, let alone taking influence from other composers' rhythms. I'm going to be implementing my way. So that pretty much wraps up this week. So if you guys have any comments on what I've done, feel free to say below and subscribe.